I'm Scott.
I'm Ben.
And this is a review. On today's episode, which is episode 74, we'll be reviewing Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man Far From Home is a story of Spider-Man, and he goes far from home. I have to say, I love this movie. Ben, what did you think about Spider-Man Far From Home? First of all, before you do that, this will be a full spoiler review. There's no way to talk about this without getting into spoilers because the movie is literally about tricking you. So, Ben, what'd you think about Spider-Man?
It was great. It was really, really, really good. It was really, 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 really good. It's a lot of fun. A lot of the great elements are like the best elements from Homecoming kind of get like the spotlight here once again. You know, it still feels like a great high school teen comedy, and that's a lot of the heart of the movie, and they're sort of keeping in that that John Hughesian vibe. There's still a lot of these great little performances by the school and his classmates and shit. They drive the movie as much as the MCU shit. So I really liked. Obviously, it's something in way bigger scale post Endgame that's still working for sure.
So that's one of the greatest things about this movie is there is one story going on here that is about Peter Parker being in love with Mary Jane and him trying to work up the courage to tell her. And it's literally being taken away from him by the other story, which is basically the MCU side of things. And it's what a great way to literally have this entire weight of a franchise on Peter Parker's back. And it's it's such a weird, nice literary, illusion here where it's he's got this entire franchise on his back and it's all about him feeling the weight of that and literally taking over the mantle of Tony Stark, which is a big part of this movie also, which I think they're balancing a lot of stuff here, and it's all with this great set pieces that are here with your villains here. So first of all, I have to say I was right. Ding, 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 ding. Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal. This is our spoilers. Remember, spoilers. He's not a good guy. I know that's not shocking because Mysterio is, in fact, a villain in the comic books. But yeah, that's what I said when I saw the trailer. Oh, he's probably creating an illusion so that everyone thinks he's a hero. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what it is.
The Syndrome effect.
Yeah, Syndrome. You nailed it. Wow, I forgot about Syndrome.
Yep.
So, Incredibles, of course. So, same exact kind of thing going on here. Now, to start off here, the thing that's really great about this, too, which was a lot of things, is how they transition us from Endgame, this end of an era, a lot of weight, and then they kind of just turn that right on its head and kind of, poke fun at how serious it is with the most, pathetic tribute to all the superheroes, thanks to the school news at the high school they go to. And it is like Getty images and pixelated pictures of the Vision and oh my god, it's
the opening of In Memoriam in lowercase Comic Sans. As soon as that popped up, I'm like, oh no, this is a joke.
Yeah. When the song too, what's that song? I'll
Always Love You by
Celine Dion.
No, it's Whitney Houston.
Oh, that's right. So, yeah, they really set the tone right away. And that's the other thing about this movie is it's hilarious. Yeah. This is wall-to-wall a comedy.
Homecoming. It's a great, it's really funny. It's really genuinely funny.
Well, because it's got the element of, Peter Parker just being a charming lead character. Him and his friends are all funny. But then, Martin Starr and J.B. Smoove as the teachers.
They're bubbling teachers.
Oh my god. They are amazing in this movie together. Those two, I'm not used to seeing them together as a comic duo, but they work perfectly in this movie.
So funny. Holy shit.
And they do a lot of work to kind of set up a post-Endgame world, which, as you guys I'm sure have seen now, it's a lot to take in that the world... Half of the population was vanished. People remember this. It's not it was undone. It was undone, but it's not it didn't happen. So it's the world is still grappling with this ridiculous thing that happened. And they kind of play on it in a fun way. They refer to it as the blip is when everyone came back. And they kind of joke on it a lot. Oh my God, Martin Starr's character has a whole revelation about how he thinks his wife died in the blip. and they had a funeral for her, and it turns out she just was cheating on him and like ran away with somebody else. So like they really find a great way of like kind of poking fun at this like really serious incident that happened, but also like, yeah, weird stuff like this would happen. Like, it's not going to be a perfectly clean solution.
And the world, you know, they kind of took that from Endgame too, of like the world moves forward. Like it's sort of the same. I don't know, just the interconnectivity of it, like, you know, especially between like Infinity War and Endgame and this, like it's all in. They're doing a good job of balancing the fact that this is all this really crazy shit is involving everyone, like all across, like the world. There,
so
you know,
it's like this movie. It's a standalone movie in and of itself, but then there's so much going. It's like none of these movies anymore can be standalone. I will say I think this one does work really well, just the movie elements of it, but it's like you can't. It's impossible to separate. It's really hard to talk about.
They can't exist in a bottle anymore.
No, you can't just be like, well, this is great in a vacuum. It's like you have to kind of talk about the other stuff. And I guess it's a domino effect. If you don't like the other stuff, this is going to bleed into this, but I don't know how you couldn't. But so that being said, they also play along like a great example of what you were saying. The kid on the news we were talking about, he's like, yeah, my younger brother is older than me now. And there's just this like awkward like existential crisis moment where it's like zooming in on his face and he's just like staring off at his face. So it's like they really they're playing on like, but it's still also affecting the world in a weird way. And that kind of brings us to Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal, who I'm not gonna like spend an hour dissecting his plan, but he basically shows up. You think he's the hero. Spoiler alert, he's using holograms and drones to cause the damage himself so that people think he's a hero. Now, this is the one element of the movie that I think was sort of weak, was his motivation.
Yeah.
Basically, they say that he invented the hologram that Tony Stark uses in
Civil
War.
Yep.
Which, okay, this hologram technology just seemed like such a, like, blip in the universe anyway, so I guess maybe that's part of the point. But basically, they're saying that Jake Gyllenhaal created that technology, and he's mad that Tony Stark made an acronym and called it BARF.
Yeah, it's basically it's a coalition of spurned former Stark employees who now that Tony Stark is dead, they are trying to show that they like are the masters behind a lot of this tech all along. It's sort of like this anti Steve Jobs.
Yeah, which is weird though too, because Jake Gyllenhaal is dressed like Steve Jobs in the beginning.
Yeah, he's kind of a psychopath like Steve Jobs too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's weird. So that I think is where the movie crumbles apart a little bit, where everything else is so strong, and especially coming off of Homecoming, which had a great villain with Michael Keaton, of course, as Vulture. Now, that being said, this is basically the same thing, where it's because Michael Keaton was also a spurned Stark employee. It was a little bit different in that, and it made a little bit more sense. And the reason I think we were a little bit more lenient on that was more of a new idea in that movie. And maybe not, because I think a lot of the MCU villains are like angry at Tony Stark. That seems to kind of be a theme, but it is starting to wear thin a bit. And a big part of his plan is very convoluted way of getting the glasses that Tony Stark gifted to Peter Parker away from Peter Parker. So that's like Jake Gyllenhaal's main plan. Mysterio is, I need to get these Stark glasses. And he's pissed that Tony gave them to Peter Parker instead. Yeah. Because the glasses have this great technology. They're like, how would you describe the glasses?
They are the pass key into like the Stark like defense net. So
it's like Tony's. It's basically like
and
giving you Tony Stark's armor in a form of glasses. Like it has an AI. It can do the whole. It can do anything. It can scan phones. It can hack things. It's like a MacGuffin glasses.
Yeah, you call it like a drone strike,
which he does. So yeah, that's the one element of the movie that is really weak. They have this really weird kind of reveal when he kind of is like revealing his plan, but it then ends up being one of the coolest sequences where they're actually showing how Mysterio works. So it's kind of weird. It's like his motivation and why he's doing it, and even the plan itself is kind of convoluted and stupid. But then it leads directly into a really amazing sequence kind of showing how this actually works. And he's wearing like the mocap suit the whole movie. And it's like, okay, it's kind of pulling back the curtain on even some of these MCU movies and kind of making him like a movie villain more, you know?
Yeah, there's a fair amount of like meta text going on in this, which is pretty cool because like they kind of they lean into it at sometimes more than others, but overall, like it feels like this.
It's well thought out.
Yeah, there's enough like
that
awareness.
element, not the why, but the how.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Which I think is okay. Like the why is pretty much glossed over, and you're like, okay, he's a bad guy, fine, whatever. Yeah. You know, it's like not every villain is going to be Killmonger or Thanos or Vulture. You know, like they're not all going to be top tier. His power set and how he uses his powers to fuck with Spider-Man
is way cooler.
A+.
Yeah.
Like, there's a sequence in here we're talking about it where Mysterio really kind of unleashes his power and is using it to, like, trap Spider-Man in, like, a virtual nightmare. It was very reminiscent of the Arkham Asylum, the Scarecrow sequences where you were tripping balls.
And Doctor Strange, like there's a lot of that like duplicating and like falling down like those tunnels
and like very disorientating and cosmic weirdness.
Really fucking sweet.
And well, I mean like zombie Iron Man coming out of his grave at one point. Like, I mean, they're playing on his guilt. I think there's a lot going on here. Yeah. So I mean, it's really well handled. And it's just, once again, it's kind of sad that Jake Gyllenhaal, one of the best actors out there right now, and he's just kind of a B movie villain of the week kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like motivation wise.
I will say though, once the pivot occurs, I loved him. Like as like a villain, like he really kind of turned like a wheel in his performance.
Turned on, because he was kind of coasting, or he's kind of like, what's going on? Because
you don't know. There's a little bit of like Lou Bloom in him and shit, where he is kind of like a little bit of a raving psychopath. Like
he's unhinged, and you know, so, you know, movie stuff happens. You get a lot of your character development. Mary Jane finds out Spider-Man is Peter Parker, which is great. It's kind of a short-lived victory because the post-credit sequence, I think we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this. Holy shit. So, first of all, we get Jake Gyllenhaal, who's been, Mysterio has been playing the hero the whole time. He basically sends out a last fuck you after Spider-Man defeats him, and is like, he broadcasts a video that is him saying that Spider-Man is evil, that he summoned a bunch of drones because he is next in line to be Tony Stark, that nobody else can be a hero, and that he killed him, and that now he's going to kill everyone with his drones. And he also tells the entire world that his name is Peter Parker. So, big mic drop from Mysterio. Like, you're right. Like, yeah, he might have gotten beat, but he still kind of, like, had the last laugh.
Very strong contingency plan. Pretty much, like, the perfect, like, I'm going to undo
everything.
And control the narrative. Like, yeah. It's super, super. And it's sophisticated, too. Like, that's good, like, modern villain writing. Like, if you're gonna
like,
go with his whole angle of, like, him being kind of like a tech bro and, like, having the whole illusion thing and framing himself as the hero, like they actually do pay off a fair amount of like his motivation-esque stuff pretty well at the end with that mic drop.
It like, once again, his motivation sucks, but his plan and like what he's doing is genius. Like how he's executing it and turning everyone against Spider-Man at the end. That's a great way of like bringing it all to, like, that's a great, it all comes together really well. And the biggest mic drop of this entire fucking movie, drumroll please, the introduction of J.K. Simmons' return as J. Jonah Jameson, or whatever the fuck his name is, from the Daily Bugle. Wow. What an incredible, like, I wanted to stand up and clap. Like, I know we always make fun of that, but, like, he is made to play that character, and we didn't think that they'd bring him back just because of the, it was so long ago, but they brought him back. He's the same character, and they brought him at a great time because now he has a reason to be anti-Spider-Man.
Yep.
He's pro-Mysterio, so you have this kind of like Fox News propaganda angle working now with the Daily Bugle.
He's definitely not Alex Jones.
Yeah, but like that's perfect. In the Spider-Man game, they basically did that. They made him more of a podcaster, and he's basically Alex Jones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, perfect way to bring him in, and that sets up so much for the future here. I mean, that could bring in Eddie Brock into this movie now, Venom, of course, the post credit stinger with the
Skrulls.
This is the weird one. Yeah, the Skrulls that were Nick Fury and Moira. What is her name? Moira Hill.
Maria Hill.
Maria
Yeah,
Hill.
yeah, yeah.
I thought her name was Myra Hill or something. They were Skrulls the entire time, but the good Skrulls from Captain Marvel, Ben Middleton, and somebody else. And Nick Fury is in space with the Skrulls working on some space station. There's a lot going on here, guys. Like, that's why we had to do this spoiler thing. Like, this is setting the stage for so much potential here.
Yeah.
And yeah, like this, like so much that could happen with the next Spider-Man movies. I think this is like such a great,
They really blew open for 3, for sure.
and just the rest of the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this amazing sequence in here where they basically have Peter Parker becoming Tony Stark, where you see him designing his own suit in the back of the Quinjet, and Happy puts on AC/DC just like from the first movie, and it's just amazing. Oh, it's just, I think we all got our own little Peter Tingles right there in the movie as that happened.
Speaking of Peter Tingles, that sequence when he goes like full like Spider-Man video game where like you hit the
in the
chain,
tunnel,
the chain combat where.
Yep. That's the other thing is the actual just Spider-Man action in this movie is so fun and fluid and well executed. I mean, he's doing all this stuff and it's just like it makes sense, but it's, I don't know, it's so beautiful to watch. It's very well choreographed.
You get great like Spider-Man in all his phases. Like he's being like covert, like I'm Peter Parker but doing Spider-Man shit, but like not in my costume. He's stealth suit Spider-Man. He designs his new suit. He's in the classic Homecoming suit. Like
you hear him talking
he's
a lot of
Iron
science
Spider
in
suit
here.
a little bit. Yeah, like you're sitting like him being kind of a genius and like there's it's really neat.
They're really like hitting all the Peter Parker notes in this movie, and a lot of them I don't feel like they hit on in Homecoming. Like I think they really like found a way to hit every single note that you'd want from a comic book character like this, and it's really like, I mean, I just give it up to these guys. Like they really figured this character out. You really feel for him in every moment, and you're with him for this journey. And I think that is a perfect place to bring us to final thoughts. So Ben, let's hear your final thoughts on Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Far From Home met and mostly exceeded, I think, my expectations. Nailed the Endgame follow-up aspect, the Homecoming follow-up aspect, expanding the world of Spider-Man. Like, now we can talk about, like, a Spider-Man 3 where, like, he's battling the Sinister Six, maybe, and, like, Venom and shit. Like, it's great. It blows up in the MCU. Tom Holland is phenomenal as Spider-Man. Like, he said he wants to play him forever. Please do. Like, it's great. You can see him growing up and like, oh my God, I can't wait. This was quite a blast. Some of the motivations with Mysterio, some of that stuff was a little off, but overall, very, very, very solid. Great summer blockbuster that came at the right time. Probably 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 spooky drones. 8.5 spooky drones out of 10.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, this movie, I think, had a lot to accomplish. Like, it had a lot going into it. It had a lot to live up to with Endgame and this whole saga that's just come to an end, and we're kind of exhausted with this stuff, right? And this movie came along and was the perfect injection of fresh air we needed. It's hilarious. It's light, but you still have a lot of great character building. The villain, the motivation's not there, but the execution of him and his power set and what he can do, pitch perfect. Like, it really was just so exhilarating to watch a lot of this play out, and I was just ready to sit there all day watching this movie. It set the stage for a million things, and we now have kind of I think we can firmly say this is going to be our new route into this MCU going forward, is going to be set more in the Spider-Man universe. So I think that's great. I think Tom Holland has got a lot on his shoulders, but I think he's going to carry this with gusto. So yeah, I mean, I could talk about this all day. I'm gonna have to give this a 9. I'm gonna have to give Spider-Man Far From Home 9 vlogs out of 10. I love those vlogs. I mean, this is just pure joy to watch, and yeah, I mean, this got me excited again, which
Hell yeah.
frankly, I was excited to watch this movie, but I didn't think that I would be this excited post watching it, but I really am.
And TBH, we haven't been excited for a big movie. Like, we got really let down by Godzilla.
Yeah.
There's really been nothing big movie-wise, like, post-Endgame. Like...
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of got us... This is like the good jump start for the rest of the summer here, right?
For sure.
So, yeah. That's been our review of Spider-Man Far From Home. Go check it out if you haven't already. I hope you have if you've been listening to this, because we've just spoiled the whole movie. Sorry about that. Oh well, I did warn you. So next week, what's next week? I mean, we've got lots of things to catch up on. So if there's not something next week, we'll go see Yesterday. We'll go see Toy Story. I want to see both of those. I know Lion King's coming out soon. We got a couple of these things. So, hey, it's a surprise. We're all super busy right now this summer, so just be happy you're getting a review once a week. Stop complaining, fucking assholes. On that note, this has been a review. I'm Scott.
I'm Ben.
Thanks for listening.